I'm Jim Pross. I'm presenting this final project to Dr. Caravajal for the final project for cloud computing. In this project, I was doing a proof of concept for providing VDI for Lindner College of Business students. The virtual desktops we would host have all the software required in coursework at LCB set up the way our professors require. But this way, the students are able to log into this virtual environment, use all the software that we have here without having to purchase it and install it on their own machines. We currently provide this service to our students, but it's hosted by UCIT, and there are drawbacks to it. First, it's very expensive. It's not a deal breaker, though, because we do need to provide the service to our students. But the main issue is that we have limited control over the environment and have to rely on UCIT for changes to be implemented. So if we implement this project ourselves, we're able to make changes to our base virtual machine and push them out right away. So this happens a lot. There's software requirements change, or tweaks need to be done, or anything like that, updates to the Windows machine itself. So this way we're able to make those changes and quickly put it right back out. This project was created using VMware Horizon. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my vSphere window where we have all this stuff going on. Created with VMware Horizon involved mainly the setup of 3 virtual machines. There's the connector server where most of the heavy lifting is done. That's all the configuration and all that. The security server, and then the template that the virtual machines would be cloned from. I got a trial license for the software from VMware. We got some documentation from them, but otherwise I did all the research and configuration myself. As the systems administrator here at Lindner, I have full admin rights over our ESX stack, over vSphere, and over the UCCOB domain, which came in handy several times. To get started, so we're here in vSphere, the client, the web client. By the way, I'm not a big fan of the web client, but that's the way they're pushing everybody. You can see when I created it, it created some of these folders that are empty, just these clone, prep parent, and all this kind of stuff. But most of it's held down here under my VDI project folder I created. So here's all the virtual machines involved in the project. Here's the connector server, the security server, and then a client, the template for the virtual machine that the students would log into. We'll look at the security server first. So I'm just going to launch Remote Console. Get logged into this. Because of best practices, it dictated that I did not add this machine to the domain, so that's why I'm just logging in as a local administrator. And there's not that much configuration going on in here, actually. You pretty much set it up, ran the agent on it. It installed some applications and some spots where you can kind of do some configuration changes, but that's about it. On the connector server, I tell it where the security server is, but they're able to communicate from there. Next, let's look at the connection server. I'm going to launch a remote console for that as well. I was already logged into that, but this machine is on the UCCOB domain, and I was logged in with domain credentials. So I'll start the administrator console. Again, log into that with domain credentials. And I'll just go through some of the high points in here. The view configuration is where most of the configuration is done. So here's where I specified to use the vCenter server, which we just created on our new stack that we installed last year. The security server and the connection server. Basically, you just tell it where all those things are. There are a lot of different settings you can set in here. I kind of set them up based on our needs and what I thought it made sense for students who are logging into these machines, College of Business students. up under the catalog is where I actually created the desktop pool. So this is the pool of machines that I created. When I created this pool, I had it provisioned right away. So that's another option you can do, is to have it create on demand, but it does take several minutes for it to create one. So for what we do, it makes sense just to keep them always provisioned and ready and just have a max number set. So if I click on this pool, we'll see max number of machines 10. That seemed, for kind of a decent number for what we were doing. Obviously, if I'm doing this in the real world, I'd create quite a few more. You can set changes for remote machine power, so they can power it down themselves, which I don't want them to do, so I told them not to do that. Obviously, don't delete the machine after log off. A lot of different stuff. I thought it was pretty cool you could throttle Adobe Flash, because that becomes a real bandwidth problem if you have a lot of Flash stuff going on and that's coming through the VDI. Here's the inventory. So right now we got 10 machines. They're kind of spread out over the blades, which I thought was interesting. I told it which cluster, and then it just sort of separated them as it wanted to. I told it to use this data store, so everything's on the same data store. Look at the sessions right now. We shouldn't see anything going. I don't think I have anything running. But that should change in a minute when we log into it. The entitlements is who's able to log into these machines. So I ended up with students, although we're not really ready for that part. Technology is my group, so that anybody could see that when I demo this. And then a test account, which I wanted to provide for you so that you could log into it if you wanted to. I had time to. There's a lot of policies you can set, which I thought was pretty interesting and really helpful. USB access was cool, because students do that a lot, where they use a USB on their physical device and are able to, in the virtual session, create files, modify files, do that sort of thing, and then save it to the USB drive that's on their local computer. Really handy. So that's the connector server. That's the big stuff that I had to mess with when configuring that. Oops. And now I'm going to open up the client. So this is the VMware Horizon client. This is what students currently use with the UCIT implementation. I didn't mess with setting up a permanent name, because this is just sort of a test, so we're just using IP address. I also didn't set up a SSL certificate for this, because it costs the university money to actually create those, I do believe, and I didn't really want to create that right now because all this stuff should change. So in the meantime, we're just using, it's all internal, so I'm not going through using that certificate. I'm going to say accept. I'm logged in here, and I just have this one pool set up, so this is the only option I'm going to see, VDI test. So this is actually, I have it set up currently to use 2 monitors, so it's over on the second monitor. I'm going to drag that over and just use the, whoops, and just use the one monitor. So now we're logged into this machine. This was a virtual machine that we created to use as a template for imaging all our lab computers. So it has all the software, everything that we need. We also use this same template with our UCIT implementation of the VDI using VMware Horizon. But we can look in here, and there's all the kind of software we provide for the students: Acrobat Pro, MATLAB, and SPSS. SAS. Obviously, we have McAfee on there. All the kind of typical software a student might use. And we can get out to the internet also. While that's opening, because it's going a little bit slow, I'm going to look over at the I'm going to look at the connector server also. And now, if we go to our sessions, I should see, if I refresh this, there's the session that I have running right now. I'm using the VMware Blast protocol, but I also set that so they could use RDP and a couple other ones. They can choose that if they would happen to have problems with that. And if we go into our inventory now, I should see that there also. So I'm using VM3, and there's my VDI test user that I'm logged in with. And we're on the College Business homepage over here. Seems to work well. If I'm a student, I'm saving my work and all that sort of thing. Come over here to log off. I don't believe the shutdown will work, but I'm going to log off. To set up the client machine, that was actually sort of a pain because you had to get the agent installed in there. You had to make sure that it was set up as a template, and you also had to create a snapshot within VMware for that to work. So stumbled through that a few times. At this point, I think now if I go back to my connector server again and refresh since I logged out, yeah, it's going to show that I'm not there anymore. And under the sessions, no longer there. That is it. I will also send, along with this video, I will send the IP address if you would want to log in and test it out for yourself, but and the credentials. So this was a great project. I really learned a lot from it. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up using this ourselves, so this has been a great benefit. I'm a big fan of the VMware product. It does a lot of good stuff, and we've been using it for quite a while, so pretty well acquainted by now, but very powerful and has done a great job for us. So thanks for all this. It was a great class, and I'm glad to get this finished up and to do this project. Thank you very much.